Okay, again. So welcome to Adobe Dimension. Adobe Dimension is a software that is used for product mockups. Okay, for of course digital product mockups, and it's all in 3D. Okay, if you do have some 3D knowledge or some like good spatial orientation, you'll be fine with this. Otherwise, you'll feel a little bit lost in the beginning, but you see that like Adobe Dimension is actually so awesome that you will want to push through. Okay. So before we go into Dimension, we need to be in Photoshop and define what design are we applying to our thing. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is first of all, um, I'm importing Photoshop files into Dimension to be the design of my product. Okay. So what I'll do is, as a default, okay, this is not accurate or law or anything. This is just an estimative of like what my design will look like. So I'm just making it like 1000 by 1000 pixels as a default size to paste on my materials. Okay. So I'm in Photoshop creating a 1000 by 1000 um, artwork. I'm making sure it's a 300 dpi so I can actually resize it. And since I'm gonna print, I'm doing it in RGB. All right. So let me create that. All right, there we go. And then I want to be mainly just some text. Okay, just to be quick. So Patariki Street Market, like that. Perhaps like so. And the font that I researched, beautiful. That's the one. I'm going to make it like very like centralized. There we go. Right. So let's say that I'm done with my work here in Photoshop. Well, I can actually just like do something extra. Let me take advantage of my brush pack that I got from my good friend Jonah Deho. I gave you guys a link for that as well. Let me get a small clouds. Clouds are really good. So I'm actually doing this like just behind the text. So like layer of clouds like that. Make sure that it doesn't touch the edge. There you go. That's fine. That's fine. Let's just say that that's my design. Okay. And that I want my text just real quick. Where are my text options? Oh yeah, here. Just bring this down a little bit. I'm not flipping my brush. This is actually a specific configuration of the cloud brush. As you um, as you click and drag the cloud, it moves by itself. It's a configuration from the brush. Okay. But now in Photoshop 2020, if you use the arrow keys of your keyboard, you can actually turn your brush like this. I'm just using the arrow keys to turn my brush. Okay, but with this brush specifically, as I draw, it turns around by itself. Okay. Okay, now I want this background to be transparent, so I'm selecting my background layer and getting rid of it. So now I have this checkerboard pattern on the background. That means my background is transparent. So what I'm gonna do is Command Shift S, and I'm going to save that as a Photoshop file. Very important, save as a Photoshop file. Okay, and let's name it Design One. Okay. Now in Dimension, we need just go and create new, and this is what we begin with in Dimension. It's a blank 3D space, with an infinite background. And this is our default resolution, which is fine. It's more than enough for us to work with. So here in Dimension, we have a huge array of standard objects to play with, okay? So if you guys are doing the tote bag, for example, you can instead work with this one, which is a drawstring bag. Okay. If you're doing a t-shirt, there you go. You have a t-shirt over here. If you're doing the bag as well, you could work with this one, like a paper bag. Okay, it even has like the creases from the paper over here. All right. But I'm working with a bottle, so I'm going with this one. I want this like metallic bottle to be my my item to be gifted at the my Material market. Okay. So um, first of all, camera controls on your mouse. Bear in mind, it's way better if you have a mouse to work with Dimension because you need all three buttons to work the camera. Okay, if you're using a trackpad or something similar, not really sure how that's gonna work. But your right button of the mouse is your orbital camera. You're orbiting around something, around an object. In my case, it's the bottle. Okay. And your mouse wheel, if you scroll in or out, is your zoom. And then if you hold the mouse wheel and turn around, you are panning the camera and tilting the camera. So you're moving left and right, up and down. Okay, these are the base camera controls. Now you see here that you have some color-coded arrows as well. So each arrow represents a coordinate, and the 3D coordinates are X, Y, and Z. Okay, and you can see here as well on the corner your plane reference. Okay, so there you go. This would be your front and center, for example, because you're aiming straight at the Z coordinate. All right. If you want to memorize real quick, X, Y, Z, RGB, easy as. So X, Y, Z, RGB, because again, it's a red, green, blue. Haha. If you pull the arrows, you move your object on that direction. If you click on the circle, you rotate the object on that direction. Whoop. And if you use the square, you scale it in that direction. So you can have like a really like short bottle or a very long bottle. There you go. It looks like a medicine jar now instead of a proper bottle. Right? And of course you can do it like all directions. Now it looks like a whiskey flask or a shampoo. Now it looks like a part of like whey protein. You know, it's just like moving it around. You can do a lot of stuff. And once you click on an object to load it on your 3D space, most objects will come with separate pieces. So you drag a box to select the entire object, and you see here you have on your bottle, you have a safety ring, you have the actual bottle, and then you have the lid. So that way you can actually just like bring stuff separate. Yeehaw. Sweet. Now, you have a selection of models, and right underneath the models, you have your materials, okay? So this is a metallic bottle. I don't want to mess up with the material there's already is because I like the light reflection that is playing here, okay? But if you want to change by any chance, like make that a glass bottle, all you have to do is click on the glass and drag it over to your bottle. And boom, you can see now it's like slightly transparent. because now the bottle is made of glass. Ah, beautiful, right? It could be plastic. It could be made of brass. Oh boy, that's ugly. Oh man, could be made of gelatin. I like the reflection on that. But anyway, we're keeping it as it original material. Okay. Um, you have two sets of materials. You have the standard Adobe materials for Adobe Dimension, and then you have the Substance material. Substance is a software designed for painting 3D models. Okay. You will have a few in common, but with different settings. So you're more than welcome to go and play around with them. Okay. Can you imagine like a leather bottle? Oh, that's weird. So let's just keep the original material as it is. On the materials, you have lights. Okay. Um, you in your environment over here on your scene on this right side of the screen, you have your environment light. Okay, your environment light is your default one. Okay, without light, you can't see anything. You need the light. But if you want to change, for example, let's say I want a 3-point light. I just go and click here to add a 3-point light scheme. But just have in mind that it kind of stacks, excuse me, to the environmental light that you have. So you have to click in here and delete. There you go. This is your 3-point light for the bottle. Okay. There's way too much reflection in it. I prefer the original one. So I'm just going to Command Z a couple steps. There we go. That looks better. So you can play around, select the lights. You can move the lights around. If I go here, my environmental light, I can control my intensity. It's super exposed or just like underexposed. I just keep it 100% for like default. You can change the rotation of the light as well, which is pretty cool. And you can apply some color in your light to make it reflect on your object. But I'm keeping everything default to make it easier for you guys. Okay. Right after the lights, you have images for your backdrop. Okay. And that is the last thing that you select. You can just put your bottle on a table like that. Of course, it's not like sitting properly on the table, but there is a button that you can do. No, that's not it. Hold on a second. I can just select my object and use this button over here, which is move to ground. So yeah, it broke it. Nah, don't move it to ground just yet. Oh, it already moved. Oh, but not the select everything, and then there we go. So that adjusts the ground of the picture into your object. But I'm actually just getting a regular. Where's my background? Background. Environment background. I can just select a color, a solid color for my background, and I want a nice clear shade of blue like this. Cool. Nice. So I go to environment, go to my background, I can turn it on and off. Click here, instead of image, I move on to color and select a solid color for my background. Right. Now for my bottle, I can click on my bottle and then it gets selected over here and I get a bunch of properties to work with, okay? So the two main ones that we're focusing on are here on the corner. One is a sticker, place a graphical model. So let's click on that and select from our desktop the Photoshop file that we designed. Wait for it to load and boom. Oh boy, that looks beautiful. So once I put my design in there, I can just like move it around and it sticks to the surface of my bottle. It interacts with the luminosity and the reflections of the environment. I can make it slightly smaller so it fits on one side of the bottle. There we go, and then I move it up a little bit. Beautiful. I click on my bottle again, go to the final one where I do my material settings. So for that one, I can just change my base color and get another beautiful shade of blue, like a darker shade of blue, or maybe brighter so I can have some contrast with the original one. Or I can actually get some red, perhaps. Nah, that's ugly. I'll just do like, okay, I like the shade of blue. That looks nice. Where do you buy my merch? I'll send you a link. You just go to thenthetutorstore.com.nz and you can buy my stuff in there. Okay. That is looking really good. That is looking cool. But I want to go further. I want to go further with this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm getting my environmental light and I'm rotating a little bit just to adjust my reflections and my luminosity to this corner. I just bring up the intensity a little bit. And then bear with me. Okay, I'm going back to my models. And since this is a water bottle, let's get a water splash. Let's rotate that to be around my bottle, like that. Like that. Yeah, that looks nice. Rotate it a little bit. Up to the side. Nah, just one splash. Two would be too much. Oh, I could have this on the background, perhaps. Like a far background. Yeah, nah. I'll just stick with this one. Perhaps like rotate it a little bit more. Not like that. I don't want it like going off the floor. Okay, I'm happy with this. Now over here, I go back to materials and let's look for glass water. Drag and drop. Yeah. Now it's actually made of water. Or I could just perhaps try some other materials in that splash. You have beer, you have olive oil. Let's see how glass looks. Yeah, same thing. I'll just stick to water. Okay. You can go to your water options over here. Okay, water is tagged on the top. You can change the opacity. You can up some roughness, and then it turns to milk. I don't know. You can make it metallic. It looks weird. It looks like came from a Michael Bay movie. Oh, that gives me an idea. I can just like twist it like this way and then this way. Yeah, there we go. And then like rotate again. That's better. But I need to bring down this metallics, and then I can make it glow as well. And it's like Mountain Dew. But yeah, translucence is very, very important for water. You can change the index of refraction, the density, and translucence is like how much like light goes through it. So just 100% is fine because come on, it's water. All right, so I think we're almost ready to export. This is the pack shot of my product, so I want it to look powerful. So I'm just putting that on a high angle. I'm moving to the side a little bit because I want to have some text over here. And then I'm just going to rotate my bottle a little bit to get that label facing the camera. Okay. And once again, I'm going to my environmental lights and I'm rotating it a little bit because I don't want that reflection, that strong reflection, like covering my logo. So I can just rotation, intensity, image. Go. Yeah, I need that in there anyway. I'll just keep it like this. This is fine. And I want this empty space on the corner here so I can actually put some text in Photoshop, okay? So I'm done with my mockup. I'm happy with it. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to move over here to render. And and I'm going to name it a bottle. The quality, I want it to be a high quality, so it's gonna take some time, and I'm doing a PSD export, okay, to my desktop. Then I just click render, I hit OK, and I wait for it to export a Photoshop file for me. Oh boy, you can see that in the render, the water will look more realistic, the bottle will look more realistic. It's actually really, really nice. Adobe Dimension is used for architecture a lot. Let me show you some my first. There we go. Anyway, that's my profile. So this was one of my first creations with Adobe Dimension. I tried to create a mock-up of one of the best drinks in this country. After I went to a Adobe conference and I learned about it. So I had to actually resource this beer glass because it's not a standard object from um, Dimension. I had to replicate the logo and bring it to Photoshop and clear the background and use here as a sticker. And same thing with the bottle. Sorry, the can, the beer can is not a bottle, it's a can. And that same swirl of beer around it. Yeah, let's have a look at our render. It's still loading. There we go. It shows our render status down here. It's around 50%, so it shouldn't take any longer than that. Should be fine. Yeah, same thing. It's the glass material, beer material in the back. I actually used paper here on the can because, come on, it's the label that is printed and then paste on the can. Okay. Um, let's just wait for it. It's almost there. Did you guys find that difficult? I know it was fast, but again, you can always refer back to the video and do it step by step. Let me show you guys some good examples of past students with Dimension. There you go. So this was a mock-up water bottle, like a plastic water bottle from the Matariki Street Market from, and I should end in a t-shirt, front and back, of course. And the choice of colors here was good, not just because come on, the colors of the Maori flag and everything, but also Matariki usually takes place around winter, and black and red are usually very warm colors, so it actually helps you stay warm a little bit. So it was a really nice design choice and a really nice practical fashion choice for the t-shirt. Okay, yes. So after a little bit less than 3 minutes, my render is ready. So I can just move on to Photoshop and open my render. Desktop bottle. Beautiful. Wait for it. Loading. There we go. Now, once you open your render in Photoshop, you have, of course, everything in different layers. You have your background color. Okay. You can just double click on it and change your color. Oh my God, that looks beautiful. That looks beautiful. That looks like a very like fancy like perfume commercial, something like that. But I'll just keep it the original blue. That looks good as well. You have your image on a separate layer with the shadows and everything. You have two versions of it. One has reduced noise. Okay. And then you have some additional layers on the top, which makes your life easier to select separate stuff. Okay, so you have a layer that shows your depth information. Okay, so how deep in the background, depending on the value of the black and white, your picture shows. You have your object selection masks. So if I want to select just the bottle cap, I can go here to filter, sorry, to select, and then color range, and then pick my the cap, and hit OK. Boom. Now only the cap is selected. Or I can go select color range, select just the water swirl, and oh boy, then I want the water. Why is it not working? Undo selection, go to this layer, go to selection, color range, water swirl. There we go. Now we selected the water swirl. So yeah, it makes your life a lot easier. Okay. Now for the text, you can only like go and create a new layer, and then go over here, get my text, and go. Oh boy, I gotta make sure that my text layer is visible, of course. I make it black to get some contrast. There you go. And then like over here, you can put like a selection of like logos of partnerships um and sponsors for the festival. Although you just can get those bottles for free, man. But anyway, there you go. And then you bring that into Photoshop, do your text, and save that as a JPEG. And then on your workbook, you go there to your final concepts page and just place it. Boom. Ta-da. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you work Adobe Dimension. Any questions? Oh, thanks, Faith. Oh boy. Adobe Dimension is really, really cool. It's really nice. It's a very nice software for you to learn. Again, have in mind that what I'm showing you guys here, what I'm showing you guys here is a very, very simplified way to work with it. If you go on YouTube, there's people creating like full architectural pieces using Dimension. It's like really, really, really cool. There's this guy on Instagram. I forgot his name. That he creates a lot of vaporwave art using Dimension. It's so good. I wish I knew how to do that. Um, but there is a lot to explore in Dimension, and if you stick with graphic design, you end up learning Adobe Dimension in level 6. Okay, like properly. All right. Or of course, if you go and you study anything 3D, you learn way more stuff in Dimension because you know Maya, ZBrush, and that kind of stuff, and yeah, you'll be better, pathwayed on 3D stuff. Let me stop my recording.